Hey guys, it's Iz, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact lore video. I finally have some time to talk about the new region of Inazuma, but I do know that it's still possible for people to not be done yet as of the recording of this video, which is why I will be talking about one of the world quests in Inazuma. It may just be me, but in Inazuma, MiHoYo has really stepped up their world quest writing game, since this area has some of the most interesting backstories and underlying lore. And yes, I will be talking about Yae as well in this video. I know there's been a lot of people talking about Yae Miko potentially being the previous Electro Archon, and we're gonna cover that as well in this video. But for now, why don't we get into the world quest of the Sacred Sakura Cleansing ritual. So if you guys haven't finished the quest yet and mind getting spoiled, click off this video and finish that 2-hour quest, and then come back when you're done. And now for those of you who are done or don't mind being spoiled, let's get into what happens exactly with the Sacred Sakura Cleansing ritual and the Shrine Maiden. On the way to Konda village, you meet the Shrine Maiden Kazari, who stands in front of a sky kitsune. She tells you that something lies within the kitsune and only one blessed with the power of Electro can retrieve it. You do and end up gaining a ward. Wards are typically used to exercise or cleanse a certain area, and turns out that's exactly what you end up having to do next in Konda village. The roots of the great sakura tree spread to many places, and one of them needs cleansing. To access it, you need to go through the well in Konda village, but the well is locked. You talk with the village chief and eventually figure things out with him. He helps you get the well unlocked and you finally reach the roots. After placing the ward on the lamp, you do a little puzzling and you fight a manifestation that resembles a samurai. After defeating the Ulchimusha, we get a surprise greeting from Kazari right behind us. She tells us that there are more areas that need cleansing and that the next one is just northeast of the Konda village. While at the shrine, you meet a mysterious woman who happens to look very similar to a person that we just met. Solve the puzzle at the shrine to obtain the Sacred Sakura Cleansing summary, but it's difficult for our paimon-sized brains to understand, so we bring it along to the Shrine Maiden, Inagi Hotomi. She seems to have difficulty decoding the text for us as well, but mentions tips about the 3 lines for the sacred words. She can't tell us the words herself since it's custom made by the one who created it, but there are still rules that need to be followed. She hands us one more thing before we head off, which is a memento lens, which should allow us to see things that we couldn't normally see before. We used the memento lens on the earth kitsunes on the area to figure out the sacred words. In these visions, you see a mysterious man and a woman, which looks very familiar, somewhat like Kazari, again but this time with a mask. We learn the 3 lines from the man, and use it on the shrine. In the name of Narukami's envoy, and of the Hakushin bloodline, bring forth the fried tofu. Sounds delicious. And we are greeted with another ward to cleanse some roots. And again, we are greeted with Kazari behind us. We ask her for more information as to what exactly the Sakura Cleansing is all about. We get some more hints that she's not exactly who she presents to be. She tells us that it's a rite of purification, and since the great Sakura tree of Narukami Island can absorb the filth of the earth and has been accumulating filth for so long, we have to cleanse it. So basically we're doing some spring cleaning. We're doing some minor purifications on roots scattered around 5 areas. This way we can have the power to perform the main cleansing. The 3 other areas are the Chinju Forest, Araumi, and the tidal flats below the Kamisato estate. We eat some magical food and head over to the forest. When we arrive at the forest, we meet the friend that Kazari was talking about, and turns out he is a Baka Danuki that has been sealed in stone. He goes by the name of Ayoroi, I think is how you say it. We talk with him, and after an errand he gives us the ward. He noted that we smelled differently from just humans, since we smelled like his people. Turns out the food we ate earlier let us smell this way, so he can call us out. Weirdly enough, he doesn't know Kazari, but rather assumes that this is the work of his friend the Kitsune Saigu, or otherwise known as the Kitsune Goddess. We do the cleansing again, and what a surprise, Kazari is right behind us again. We interrogate her about her real identity and it possibly being the Kitsune Saigu, but she takes it as a compliment and admits that she isn't actually the goddess. She then tells us about how when the goddess left, the sky and earth kitsunes turned into stone awaiting her return. After her departure, the power of the Kitsunes have dwindled to less than a tenth of what they used to be. The Kitsune Saigu and Iroy worked closely with the Electro Archon, and Iroy became the protector of the grove. Eventually, there was an evil taking over the land, and to protect Iroy, since she knows that he would die trying to protect the forest, the Kitsune asked to play hide and seek with him, and he hid. And hid for so long, but when he came out of hiding and couldn't find the Kitsune anymore, he stole the ward to lure her out, which was when he became cursed to become stone. Kazuri then tells us that she will wait for us under the well at Konda village. After we cleanse the last 2 roots, we should meet her there. So bibbly bop, a skip and a hop, and we're done cleansing the roots. And now to head back to Kazuri. And of course, like we learned, these were just minor purifications. The big one is just about to come. Most of the filth has now been transferred to right under the tree, which is where we're headed next. The filth has accumulated into a tumor, and the final step of the process is to get rid of it. We meet Kazuri at Mount Yogo and take a plunge into the depths of the great Sakura tree. After getting rid of the tumor and cleansing the tree, we finally have one more talk with Kazuri, which is where she finally tells us the truth of her identity. She is the shrine maiden that we see in the abandoned shrine, but she was reawoken at this time as a spirit with the memories of the Kitsune Saigu, which is how she knows all about these things. She noticed a similar Kitsune aura at the top of the Great Narukami Shrine, but she is neither the Kitsune nor any of her familiars. The Ochimusha are a symbol of the war going on since the filth takes form of the times that they are in. But she's not just any spirit, she happens to be filth as well, condensed from the memories of the Kitsune Saigu when she fell into darkness. And since she is also part of the filth, and we just got rid of the filth, this means that this is goodbye. And that's the end of that story. But there's so much in it that we can take for the theory that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Is Yae Miko the previous Electro Archon? Although Kitsunes are known to be able to live for such a long time, it doesn't mean that Yae is as old as everyone seems to think. The similar Kitsune energy that Kazuri felt is most likely referring to Yae, with her being the great priestess of the shrine as well as a Kitsune. Although she most definitely is not the Kitsune Saigu, she is more than likely a descendant of the Hakushin bloodline. And with that being said, Baal was already the Electro Archon during the time that the Lady Saigu was alive. Now, let's assume the following. What if Yae was the Electro Archon in the story of the Kitsune Saigu? Well, that doesn't make sense, because if she was there, why is Yae considered the Kitsune goddess if she was already the goddess of the land? That doesn't add up. And she can't have lived before Lady Saigu, otherwise she wouldn't be a descendant of her. So I don't think Yae has anything to do with being the previous Archon, but she does have, or at least had, a relationship with Baal. The Kitsune Saigu played a big part in helping Baal take the throne as the Electro Archon, as if originally being her right-hand maiden. And with Yae being a descendant, it would only make sense for Baal to treat her as a friend as well. At least she did before. And one more thing. If you happen to have Kazuri's mask after the quest, you can choose to use it, But please know that it isn't a gadget or wearable item. Rather, it's a blueprint for the Catalyst Hakushin ring. So if you don't want the catalyst anyways and rather have it as a memento, I suggest not to use it at all. If you want to know the lore about the catalyst, well, it's in the wiki, and I'll be covering that next week as well, hopefully. But that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, then like it and comment below what you think about it. I'm having so much fun with this lore-rich content in Inazuma, so if you'd like to see more Genshin Impact lore videos, then subscribe to my channel. It's free after all. Thank you again to my patron for supporting me like always, and you too can support me further by subscribing to my Patreon. And that's it from me. Ad Astra, Abbasosk.